Whoops. Anytime Canada went to war, us Gasses were there. Even in the War of 1812. If you check the rosters, you'll find a Ken Gass there. Yes, when we're called, we go. This is my great-granddad, who was a recruiter for the British Empire in case they went to war. Back in the early days, 1867, when Canada become a country, there wasn't much currency floating around, so people made their own money, and he could make his own money. He sent over 4 boys to the war, and there's my granddad's unit right there. He's in there. 4 boys. One of them was killed. One of them lost a leg, and Granddad, he won the military medal. There's the 3 boys there that come back from the war, and Granddad, like I said, won the military medal. There's his medals there, with a battlefield commission signed by the King. That's the second highest medal you can get in Canada, unless you die. You get the Victoria Cross if you die. And there's Granddad. They printed up quite a few things about him in the paper. He was quite a man. My granddad's sister, Aunt Claire, she made me call her Aunt Claire instead of Granddad Claire. She went along to the First World War with her 4 brothers. She was a nurse on the front lines. Here's a picture of her sending my dad off to the Second World War. And yes, Aunt Claire was a nurse on the front lines. She wrote a horrific diary about her experiences, took pictures when she shouldn't have. There she is with her brother, my granddad, on the front lines when he was on leave. They actually wrote a book about her, Susan Mann of McGill University, and explaining, about a lot of the things that went on there and in the First World War from a nurse's point of view. As a matter of fact, there's young Mike there. They did a commemorative plaque down in Halifax, commemorating her service to the country and to man.
There is, in Nova Scotia, handed down through the generations of her family, a remarkable diary, a daily journal kept by a First World War nurse named Claire Gass. On October 30th, 1915, she copied down a 15-line poem written by one of the doctors in her hospital. Claire Gass made a little bit of history that day, for this is the earliest written record of the poem's existence. Of all the words of war ever written, it is these simple, remarkable words which have become the most quoted, the most remembered, and for many, the most moving.
Here's the book they wrote about Aunt Claire. And there's a couple of pictures here I want you to see. Here she is, a picture of her when she's only 7 years old. That's her at 7. Look at the fur and the dress. They had some money, eh? Her dad was kind of rich, he had his own money in a mercantile store. And there she is there in the little white dress in front of the Gass home in Shubenacadie. There's 2 of her younger brothers, my granddad sitting there on the front steps of the porch, and his younger brother, I think that's Cyril, yeah. And there's, great-grandma Gass at the very top of the steps, and on the post there's Robert Gass, my great-grandfather. And I don't know who that other girl is, but look at the home, eh? That was in the 1800s, that picture there, right? I'll show you another picture of her. She went to... it was 8 or 9 boys and her, the only girl, and she was the oldest. So her dad and mom, or I guess it was her mom, decided to send her off to a private school. Edge Hill it was called. And all the rich families from Boston, the Irish, because this was mostly an Irish school, most of the you know, the very rich people from New England and all of that, they sent their girls up to this private school. And there she is there at Edge Hill. She's a schoolgirl there learning nursing, right? And in the book, the author, Susan Mann, suggests that there's another war diary someplace. They don't know where it is. Here it is here, from the First World War, 1915, 1918. But she was writing in this later, right? This is her obituaries. Well, actually, when she retired, the big article on this side here, that's from the Montreal Star, I guess it is. And then the other one is, this one here is the obituary when she died from the Montreal paper, and the small one next to it over here, that's in Halifax, eh? She was sort of half-ass famous. She started the first social worker. She was the first social worker. She's actually a charter member of social workers, right? Well, I won't get into reading all of that stuff about her, right? In her diary, it's all the same type of writing that you can barely see. She had she printed very, very small. And there's an awful lot of stories here about the war, and also poetry. She was quite the poetress. She wrote an awful lot of poetry. Robert Service. She's got poems here by Service. R.L. Stevenson, that's Robert Louis Stevenson. But the vast majority is poetry that she wrote. And actually the Gass family, because of this book here and other books she wrote, she was quite she wrote an awful lot of poetry, and she'd send letters to family members and everything like that, and write poems and give them to them, right? And some of the family, they used to think that maybe she wrote in Flanders Fields, because the first time it was ever in print was in her original war diary that got famous, right? That they did all the CBC programs about. It's very dark. Her poetry is very, very dark. There was a couple of pictures in it too. Let's see if I can find them. Excuse me. Where are you, boys? Oh, here we are. Here's a picture she took.
In Flanders fields, the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row that mark our place. And in the sky the larks, still bravely singing, fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields.